Hi, this is Eric McGarity, and today I'm going to be talking about how to make online learning a little bit more accessible. If you're learning particularly from home or doing homework, how do we make our learning experience successful for students with learning differences? So, as some of you might know, I have dyslexia, and I use a lot of accessible technology every day to get around on the computer to run my business. And so I wanted to show how some of those things could be applied into the online learning environment. So what I've got pulled up here on my screen is the Google Classroom that my son's school is using with him. And I wanted to talk about how Google Classroom could be used. And I also just want to show that I am using a Mac. So with a Mac, there's some things that I'm going to turn on. A lot of these features could be done with a PC. They just require some separate software. So I'm going to start with the Mac features that I could use. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my settings menu. So it's that little gear looking menu right there. And I'm going to click on that. And that gets me to my settings menu. Now, what I want to do is turn on a text-to-speech feature that would allow me to be able to read most things that are on my screen. If you don't have a Mac, you can do this. You would just need to download a separate program to do this. But with a Mac, it's built in. So if I just look up text-to-speech, the easiest way to do that is just type in text, for instance, and go over here to accessibility. Or you can just go straight to accessibility. And you'll see on the side, it should say speech. And once I get to speech, I'm going to just find a voice that I like. There's a number of different voices. You can actually purchase more voices online if you don't like any of these voices. I picked Alex. A lot of people, like different ones. It's a personal preference. And then you can select the speed of the voice. So I actually listen at basically top speed here because I like a very fast voice. But for demo purposes today, I'm going to pull that speed down. So you can play it to kind of hear the speed.
Most people recognize me by my voice.
And you can hear the speed of the voice. And the other key thing, the most important thing to do is to enable a shortcut. So you would just say, enable shortcut, change the keys, and I use Command Q. You can use whatever you want, but make sure it's not a command that you would use for something else that's common, like Command C is of course copy, Command V is paste, so you don't want to use any of the common ones. Command Q happens to be one that's not used for very many applications, so I picked that, and it was easy because it's fairly ergonomic for my hand to reach the Command and the Q key. So just pick whatever makes sense for your child and you. Okay, so that's the first thing and probably the most important for today's demo. So once I've got that enabled and I've logged into Google Classroom, in this case, I might want to read something on this screen. So what I can do very easily here is I could say, well, let's find something that I want to read. And let's just jump into the assignment. So let's say math about me. So here's some math stuff. And gosh, it has something that I'm supposed to read and learn, what the assignment is all about. So I'm just going to listen to that.
Answer the following questions using mathematical sentences. Don't forget to make a copy of this page first before entering your information. You may be as creative as you'd like and try to use a variety of mathematical operations for each question: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, decimals, integers, exponents. Email your finished answers to me by Thursday, March 26th by 6 p.m.
Okay, so we just read that page, and so now I know what I need to do. Now this teacher was actually quite nice because she helped me out a little bit and told me that I needed to make a copy of this. That you might not always get those instructions. Now let's go over what this page is. This is a Google Doc page, and there's some special things about a Google Doc page I'm going to go over in a minute. But the first thing I want to do up here is make a copy. So I'm going to go File, Make a Copy. And then I'll name that copy whatever I want. So my name's Eric, so I'm just going to go Eric, Math About Me, boom. Okay, so now that I have my own copy, now you'll notice that my copy has a lot more options on the toolbar than the original did. So I'm just going to X out the original. I don't need that anymore. Now I'm going to go on my own copy. Now what I can do is, obviously you've seen, so I can highlight, and I'm using my shortcut on my keyboard to read the question. So I'll just read this question.
How old are you?
Oh boy, well, that's not what a normal kid would answer, but for me, I'm 41, so I'm 41. Okay, and what's your favorite number? Okay, let's just imagine, just for a second, that one of these questions is more of an essay question, that I'd have to write a more of an essay question about. Like, let's see. Well, we'll just imagine it. So let's say that this question was an essay question, and I want to say, something to the effect of, you know, my favorite number is 9 because it's divisible by 3. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to say tools, voice typing. So check out that. This is one of the coolest tools. I'm going to turn on voice typing. And now it comes up with this little floating icon over here on the side of my screen. And this allows me to turn on and off voice typing. And it's now going to recognize what I say. So I'm going to say, my favorite number is 9 because it is divisible by 3. Period. And you can see I can even add punctuation with my voice. And it got everything right, but let's just double check and make sure it did. What I do is I highlight it and I'm going to listen to it.
My favorite number is 9 because it is divisible by 3.
Which is great. So if for instance it had made a mistake, then I would be able to catch the mistake. And then once I've completed the answers, I would click over here to the share button and I would share this with my teacher's email address, and that would share that back out. Or I could also just grab the shareable link. Okay, I've got the shareable link here. Copy this. Done. And I could put it in a comment here. I could say, here's my work. And I could put that link. Now I'm not going to do that because this is my son's actual account and I don't want his teacher to think that he's crazy. So I'm not going to actually put that in there. But you get the idea of how we're using Google Classroom, and we're using Google Docs. Now, everything I've just said is fully applicable whether you're using Google Classroom or not. I just took Google Classroom because I had somebody in our community actually specifically ask me about how to use Google Classroom and where that voice typing was in Google Classroom. And I think if you're having trouble, it may be because you haven't made a copy of the document that was shared with you, so that you can edit your own copy and activate all these extra tools. And so just to go over that again, inside tools, we have the voice typing tool, which gives us that ability to dictate. Now, another common problem is if you're given a homework assignment that is a image file or a PDF. So let's look at a PDF real quick. So here's a PDF of just a basic reading assignment that we may have gotten. This PDF is an image file, and you can see I can't make a selection of the text. And because I can't make a selection of the text, my screen reading software does not work. And so that's really frustrating. So now I've got a bigger challenge. How do I deal with this? So what I would do to get around this, there's a number of ways you can do this. There's a number of cool softwares, but the simplest one and a free one is this one right here, which is onlineocr.net. And OCR is a very important term. It stands for optical character recognition. So what this is going to do is it's going to use the computer to try to recognize the image file. All right, so I'm going to select a file, and I've got this file right here, so schoolwork worksheet, and then I'm going to upload it. And let me see. And then I'm going to upload that file. And now it's going to process it. It says it's got it. I want it to be in a Microsoft Word format. That's great. You can see they've got some other choices, but Word is what I want. And then I'm going to click Convert. Takes it a second to do. And there it is. So it's given me an output, so I can see right here the output. So I could just read it right there. But I'll go ahead and download the file. And open it up, and now here I am in Microsoft Word, and all I have to do is highlight it. And
Maya was excited to start the new school year. She was excited to see her friends again and to meet her new teacher.
Well, that's great. So now I can read it and I can answer the corresponding questions, which are obviously reading comprehension questions, which is fantastic. So those are just a couple great little tools, real quick and easy and pretty comprehensive. Google Drive is one of your best friends in the accessibility world. I would use Google Drive over Microsoft Word anytime I have the opportunity to for accessibility reasons, specifically because of the voice typing tool. And I can obviously use that with the screen reading software that I've got going on here that is built in with the Mac. It's just in the Mac settings. You can use the screen reading, which is just great. So anyway, I'll try to produce some more videos like this in the future. But thanks so much. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope this helps.